Chapter 4 Ashes. Zion is asleep. Random bumps occur in his dream, nearly waking him each time. His whole dream body shakes with each rumble. He is more annoyed by the rumbling than scared. He squirms around restlessly in the back seat of his uncle's truck, bumping vigorously as the car hits the dipping pavement at high speeds. Terry notices the restlessness. "Wake up, Zion!" he yells from the driver's seat. Zion's eyes open. He sits up quickly. "Terry, what the hell is going on?" Zion asks as he leans the crown against the window. A light rain covers the city. An attack, it looks like. I was minding my own at the shop when it started raining those metal hats we seen. One of them hit the shop across the street and we've been on high alert since. Aldridge seen you getting chased, so we taught that little crown a lesson. Terry is interrupted by coughing up blood. Zion recalls the horror of his uncle being pummeled. Zion knows that his ribs must be broken. He also pants as he breathes. Terry gathers himself. "Aldridge said you saved me, bro. I couldn't remember anything after he started dragging me towards you. I ain't gonna hold you. That was some of the worst pain I ever experienced. But we overcame because of you. He said your arm got, and that you punched his head off. What's going on with you, Zai?" "I'm straight. We just gotta get to my mom's," Zion said coldly. Zion is awake and hearing all that is said. Something seems to be missing, however, but Zion can't figure it out. "We on the way right now, of course," Terry responds. "The guys and I separated so we could get our families. We meeting back at my shop in 2 hours to get the hell out of here." Zion comes to an eerie realization. "Zach! Johnny! You got him, right?" Terry's head falls slightly, and he focuses on the road. Zion notices that no bodies lay within the trunk. "We gotta turn back," Zion says. "Like shit we do," Terry responds. "Look, Zai, we don't know what's going on. We got family to think about before we worry about them." Zion looks cross, but won't dare fight his uncle after he put his life on the line for him. The car becomes silent as the two relax while they can. Zion lives with his mom, but mainly stayed at his girlfriend's houses. She has custody of Zion's little cousin Eddie, who wasn't really Zion's cousin, but was a homeless young boy Zion's mother took in when Zion turned about 16. He is 24 now, making Eddie 12. This made Zion and his mother grow distant from each other, but Zion always kept the house afloat by selling what he could to survive. Zion remembers a time where he and his mother were playing baseball. Zion is filled with hatred. "I swear if they touched my mom, I'ma go nuts," Zion yells. "Calm down, kid. It's a long drive, and we can't help anyone acting crazy." Zion tries to calm down, but keeps reliving his friend's death in front of him. Emotion begins to overwhelm him when he suddenly tastes a brief metal taste in his mouth. His anger and sadness turn to euphoria and tranquility as he slumps over a tad. "Yo, Zai, you okay? You stopped talking." Zion remains silent. Talking is hurting Terry, so the two remain quiet as they zoom down the highway. The city seems empty, but Zion quickly notices everyone that did survive is holed up in their homes. A young girl is closing the blinds as she makes eye contact with Zion. "Turn on the radio, would you?" Zion finally speaks up. "What are we listening to?" Terry asks as he turns on the radio. "Nah, put it on the news. I need to know what's happening out there." Terry nodded as he fumbles through the channels. "National emergency. National emergency. Please be advised of the current threat." Mysterious crafts have come from the sky, killing thousands in their paths. Please remain indoors as the government plans for its next course of action. National emergency. National emergency. Please be advised. Zion is intensely listening when out of the corner of his eye he saw a light smoke coming from down the street of his mother's neighborhood. Zion's eyes widen. Hurry up, Terry, that smoke coming from her way. Terry floors it as they both panic. Terry skirts the wheels as they appear in front of Zion's mom's house. The house was collapsed and in ashes. Zion busts out the car door and Terry puts his head to the wheel as he starts to weep. No. No. No way in hell this is happening! Zion screams to the sky. Terry tries to find words of comfort but hangs his head in sadness. Zion looks around crazily. The house had obviously been hit by a crown. It clearly caused a fire as it entered the home's roof at top speed. Zion started sifting through the rubble frantically. Ma! Ma! Where are you? Zion yells as he moves hot boards about the house, slowly burning the flesh off his arm more and more with each board. Zion looks for an hour and cannot find his mother anywhere. He begins to weep as he stands in the hot house with Terry, refusing to give up the search. A cold tear comes from Zion's eye slot in the crown, but cold metal tastes remind Zion to not be so distraught. His tear dries. Zion stands there, emotionless. Terry, still crying, finally manages to put his hand on Zion. I am so sorry, Zi, he says. Zion walks into his hot room that looks more like the entrance to hell as the heat radiates within the boards. He stays in there for about a minute and returns with a heavy iron safe, the hot iron burning Zion's hands and arms. Zion, what are you doing? Put that down, Terry screams. Zion slowly walks past him to the car without a word. Zion places the smoldering iron safe into the trunk of the vehicle. Terry approaches Zion out of concern. Zion looks and feels uneasy. An almost uncontrollable hatred comes out of nowhere, and Zion looks at Terry menacingly. A loud crash and shatter occurs in one of the rooms of the house. Terry, looking at Zion terrified, manages to shake himself calm. You hear that, Zi? Terry looks over to see Zion vanished. Zion finds himself in his old living room. A squealing crown runs around the rubble. It digs into boards violently, but quickly climbs the wall to continue its search. It stops after noticing Zion. The crown scales down the wall after emitting a red, flashing light. The crown comes and sits at Zion's side like a lost puppy who found its owner. Zion looks down at it with disgust. Terry comes down the hall calling for Zion. Zion, where are you at? You warned me, bro. The crown jumps up and instantly starts running at Terry. A new type of noise comes from the crown as it chases Terry on its crab-like legs. Terry can't outrun the crown, so it leaps to his head, only to be met by Zion's cold, hard hand. Zion catches the crown and grips it aggressively. Terry is on the ground shaking. Zion, what you doing, man? Put that thing down. Zion interrupts his uncle by forcing his free hand into the crown, grabbing a seemingly important futuristic system of hoses. He rips them from the crown, The room brightens with a blinding spark and a fountain of brownish fluid spews from the body. Terry gasps, but closes his mouth quickly after realizing what Aldridge said about Zion before he left for his family. Terry, I know we all gotta separate for a minute, man, but I gotta tell you something, Aldridge says as he picks Terry from the ground. What is it, bro? Terry responds. Zi. Something ain't right with him no more. Terry struggles to look at his collapsed nephew in the back seat. What are you talking about? What I mean is, that crown is doing something to him. His arm blimps out like Popeye, and he knocks that big bitch to China. He seems off. Just watch your back, okay? Aldridge said. Terry nods. Terry looks at Zion as he slowly inches his way to the car. Zion is walking more like a zombie than a person. Terry looks to the ground briefly, only to look up at Zion staring at him with black eyes. Zion keeps a blank face as he sits in the truck. Terry fumbles for the keys and gulps as he heads to the truck.